I gotta fix that camera here. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. Thank you. I think we should have audio today. I'm sorry that we didn't have audio last night. I'm not quite sure what the problem was, but this time we're going old school, just with the regular camera. So it is, I'm not going to say it's a beautiful day out there because it's hot and it's humid. And it's one of those, I don't know, down here, do we still call them dog days of August? The really hot and humid days, summer's last stand, as it were. But we're moving closer to the high holidays, about 2 weeks, two weeks and some change, maybe exactly 2 weeks, because this is the second week of Elul. And Cantor Beth will be here in a couple of weeks, which means I'll be hiding. So, but this morning, we don't have Cantor Beth, we have Max, which is a great substitute on this Shabbat morning. So come on up, Max. I'll give you the page. Come on, bring.
Okay, let's see.
No, you can use mine. Yeah. If you have my book, then you're the rabbi. See that? See how that works? All right. You've gotten taller since last week. Mom and Dad are grabbing you and pulling you by the arms and the legs, make you tall. All right. We are on page two. No, it's one of those days. It's going to be one of those days. There we go. Page 68, a little bit of gratitude. We're thanking God for restoring our souls. Modeh ani.
Modeh ani lefanecha, melechai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha, melechai v'kayam. Shechecha zarta bi nishmati b'chemwa. Rabba emunatecha, modeh ani lefanecha, melechai v'kayam.
All right, we're going to continue warming up a little bit. Page 74, Matovu.
Matovu, 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 Alecha Yaakov. Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Vani Barov Chasacha, Avo V'yitecha, Eshtachava, Elchecha Kodshecha, B'yiratecha. Amarav Tima Obeitecha, Komish Kodecha. Vani Eshtachava V'Ra'a Evracha Lifnei Adonai Vani Tefilati Lecha Adonai Et Ratzon Elohim Baruch Hastecha Adnei Be'emet Yishecha.
All right. We thanked God for our soul. Now we're going to thank God for a body that works. And we know that Max's body works because he keeps getting bigger and taller. Yeah. Sher Yatzar, page 76. No.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah u'barav v'nekavim chalim, v'lo v'yadu lifnei hisei kavodecha she'im yifateh echad mehem, o yisatem echad mehem, אי אפשר לקיים ולעמוד לפניך. Baruch atah Adonai rofeh har chol basar u'mafli l'asar.
Okay. We're going to jump ahead just a page or two to page 80. Let's everybody please rise. Nisim b'chol yom, also known as Birkot HaShachar, the morning blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tzivinu v'tzivinu b'yovim l'olam.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokech ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokech ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hakeretz hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hameichin mitzvei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam habisharuni.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanotei leif koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir she'ena me'enai u'gema me'af apai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li b'tzalem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam aseh Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam aseh Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitah v'totav tifar l'aseh b'divrei Torah.
Amen. You may be seated. Elu Devarim, these are the things, a little bit of Talmud study for us this morning. These are the things that are without limit, meaning for some mitzvot, it's one and done, right? You bring, you bring the first fruits for Shavuot, and then it's done till the next year, right? But these are things that you can do every day and sometimes multiple times a day, and they count as mitzvot for you. So, Elu Devarim, just read it. It's no two.
Elu Devarim she'en lahem si'or she'adam ochel p'rutechem ba'olam hazeh v'ha'kerev kayumet lo le'olam haba ve'eloheim kibud av ein u'gmilut chasadim v'ashkamat beit hamidrash shacharit v'arvit v'hachnaseh orchim u'vichur cholim v'hachnaseh kala u'yometz hamet Eyun tefillah v'havat shalom bein adam l'chaberim v'talmud Torah keneged kul.
All right. Now, you've heard me say it before, and now you can see Max actually do it. The two most difficult pages in the Siddur, Kaddish D'Rabbanan, pages 90 and 92. Nope. Just recite.
Yigdal v'yigdal shmer ba
Amen.
ba'alma divrach yotev yom yitmachuteh b'chayecho v'yomecho v'chayedecho b'et Yisrael b'galav v'isman kari v'imram.
Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Olamei Almaya.
Yivrach v'yishtoa v'yitpar v'yitshama v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'ol shmei dekudesha b'rechu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata adam yiram b'alma v'yimram.
Amen.
All Yisrael v'al Rabbanon v'al Talmidehon v'al kol Talmidehon v'al kol man v'skim horata divat divatra hadein v'di v'chol atar v'atar Yehei lahon uchion shalom rabam chim v'chista v'rachamim v'chayim arichim umzomeh ruche ufur kana min kadam avu hon di vishmaya vara v'imra
Amen.
Yehei shalom rabam min shemaya v'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
Aseh shalom b'imrumahu bar chamav yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Amen. All right, we're moving out of Birkot HaShachar, out of the morning blessings, into Pesukei de Zimra, verses of Psalm and Praise. And we're at the top of 94, Baruch She'amar.
Baruch Shemar v'chaya.
Hold on.
Olam Baruch Hu, Baruch Aseh Rishit, Baruch Omer, V'yaseh Baruch Gozer, Kayim Baruch Merachim Al Haaretz, Baruch Merachim Al Habrio, Baruch Mishoy Secher Tovoria, Baruch Ha'avad Bakayim Lenetzah, Baruch Padeh Matzil, Baruch Shema.
We're going to be 3 lines from the bottom in the English, and we'll read together. You want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
I don't where it's with songs of praise, we
Extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, for you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life of the universe, praised and glorious ruler, your name is eternal. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign, who is glorified through praise.
Baruch atah Hamayim, b'tish b'chod.
Hey, doing all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Because I'm tired, so you're gonna keep going. Top of page 96, the Psalm for Shabbat. Some verses. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat.
Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'samer l'shimcha Elyon, l'hagid ba'boker hasecha, v'emunatecha ba'leilot, alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor, alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Tzadik Kadamar Tzadik Katamar Yifra Ke'eres Balvana Yizke Sheturim B'vei Adonai B'chatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu O Jenuvim Teva D'Sheni V'Ra'ani Yiyu L'Hagid Ki Yashar Adonai
All right. Good job. All right, we are on page 97. Max is not done with us yet, and we're not done with Max yet because we are at Ashrei, Psalm, 145 by itself is a fine psalm, but when it's joined by Max and friends, he becomes the Beatles. No, he becomes Maximus Hebraicus, and so we have Ashrei.
Asher Shrevetecha Od Yuchasela
Ashrei Shekacha Lo, Ashrei Shadonai Eloha. B'chol yom avarchecha, v'hala shimcha le'olam va'ed. Dor l'dor yishabach ma'asecha, u'oratecha yagidu. Ve'ezuz nartecha yomeru, uvdalatecha saprena. Chanun v'rachum Adonai, erech hapai mugdo chased. Yoducha lai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha. Lehodia livnei hadam kotav, od hadam alchuto. So meich Adonai l'chol hanoflim, v'zokef l'chol hakufim. Poteach et yadecha, maspil l'chai chol ratzon. Karov Adonai l'chol korah, l'chol asher hu v'yemet. Shomer Adonai et kol ohovav, et kol rashayim yashmid. V'anachnu nevarech Yah, me'ata v'ad olam, hallelujah. If Max turns the page, we get to page 100. Is it 100? Yep, Psalm 150, the last book in the book of Psalms. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah, Bekosho. Hallelujah, Kiauzo. Hallelujah, Borota. Hallelujah, Kirokulo. Hallelujah, take a shofar. Hallelujah, Nebel Bechino. Hallelujah, Tofu Macho. Hallelujah, Mini Biuga. Hallelujah, B'tziltzalei Shama. Hallelujah, B'tziltzalei Shvua. Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia. Hallelujah. Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia. Hallelujah. And that's for your dad, right? Pretty much. Yeah. Well, actually, today you're done. Well done. Yesh koach. Nicely done. Max turns the beamer back to me. I know. I'm so sorry, but he's worked up a sweat, and it's almost time for his, it's not quite 11s yet, but maybe second breakfast. There used to be Tolkien fans all over the place, but not anymore. Tolkien was a British author, Nick. Didn't write in French.
From Oxford.
Oxford, yes.
He wrote in Elvish.
Elvis? He left the building. We're on page 101, Yesh Koach Max. Really nicely done. Each time Max gets up here, he seems to be doing a little bit more, and that's great. We're on the top of page 101 with Nishmat. Nishmat kohochai, tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu, v'ruach basar. Min halam bad halam atayel, Elanu melech elata, Elohei arishonim v'achronim, Elai kol b'yom tadon kol toledot, u'mula b'chov hatish b'chov, amen. אנחנו מודים. אילו פינו מלא שירה קיים, לשוננו רינה כהמון גלה, בשפתנו שבת. אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, ולברך את שמך על אחת מאלף אלפי אלפים. עם אבותינו ואמותינו ועמנו, על כן איברים שבתה בנו, ברוך נשמע. הנה כי כל פרח יונה, בכל לשון אחד. כאמור לדוד, ברכי נפשי את אדוני, וכל קרבי את שם קודשו. Page 104. האל בתעצמות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא, שוכן עד מהרום, וקדוש שמו, וכתוב לנו צדיקים באדוני, לשרים נבא תהילה, בפי ישרים תתהלל, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמחלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יפר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. Please rise for Yishtabach. Yishtabach שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול הקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, עוז וממשלה, נצח גדולה וגבורה, תהילה בתפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודאות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים. 106. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'amad yirach yirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedecho beit Yisrael, bagala u'bizman kahariv v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach La'olam u'lo me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei t'kudusha brichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram velma v'yimeru amen. Page 108, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah
Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat kriyat shema lehamlecho b'levav shalem uliachto b'lev tov ulobdo b'nefesh chafetza ulobdo b'nefesh chafetza. And together, praise are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us how to recite the Shema, to declare wholeheartedly God's rule, to declare earnestly God is one, and to zealously worship God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei ur u'vorei choshech, oseh shalom u'vorei et hakol. You may be seated. Hameir la'aretz hazarim aleha barachamim, u'ktuvo mekadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh breshit. Ma'rabu ma'aseh Adonai kulam b'chokhma asita, ma'ala ha'aretz kinyinecha. Tibarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha v'yal mi'arei ur she'asita yafaru chasela. Ur chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'nizkechu lanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'me'orot. Second bracha before Shema, Ahava Rabbah. Ahava Rabbah tanu, Adonai Eloheinu chemla yidol v'teira chamalta aleinu. And together in English, how deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. V'ha'ereinu b'toratecha, v'dahabek lebeinu b'mitzvotecha, v'yachei levaveinu li'ahava u'yira et shemecha, v'lo nevosh, v'lo nikalem, v'lo nikashel, le'olam va'ed, ki v'shem kodshecha hagadol v'hanora b'hatachnu, nagila v'nismecha v'yishuatecha, v'havienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot ha'aretz, v'tolichenu k'mimiut li'artzenu, ki el poel yeshuot ata, uvanu v'charta v'kiravtanu l'shimcha hagadol sela v'emet, lehodot l'cha lehetcha be'ahava, Baruch atah Adonai, Abocher ba'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alavavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha b'derech ub'shofbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha. 118. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, dahaber el bnei Yisrael, v'amarta lehem, v'asu lehem tzitzit, al kanfei bigdehem ledorotam, v'natinu, al tzitzit hakanaf betil techelet, v'haya lehem, Litzitzit uritem oto uzchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai va'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levachem v'acharei nechem asher atem zonim achareihem leman tizkeru V'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem Emed V'yatziv Ahu V'chaviv V'nohar V'adir V'tov V'yafeh Hadavar Hazeh Aleinu L'olam V'ayed Emet Elohei Olam Malkeinu Tzur Yaakov Magi V'sheinu L'dor V'ador Hu Kayam U'shmo Kayam V'chiso Nachon M'chuto V'emunoto La'ad Kayam Het Udivarav Chaim v'Kayamim v'Nemanim v'Nechmadim v'Ad Olamei Olamim Mitzrayim Galtanu Adonai Eloheinu Mibeit Avidim V'Nitanu Al Zot Shipchu Ahuvim V'Ramumu El V'Natanu Yedidim Zmirot Shirot V'Tishbacho Brachot V'Hodaot L'Melech El Chai v'Kayam Ram V'Nisa Gadol V'Nora Mashpil Ge'im U'Matvia Shfalim motzi asirim ufoder anavim v'ozer dalim v'oner lamo beit shamam tehilot le'el elyon baruchu m'vorach Moshe v'nei Yisrael chanu shira v'simcha rabah v'yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi Kamocha nedar b'kodesh nohora tehilot osefele shira chadasha shipchu geulim l'shimcha al sevatayam yachad kulam hodu v'himlechu v'yamru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Tzor Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufte Eloheinu Mecha Yehuda v'Yisrael. Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai God Yisrael. We are going to continue with the Amidah, beginning on page 124. We'll chant 124, 126, 128, and yes, 130 for the Kedusha together. And then we'll go silently as we finish the Amidah on our own, either by reading the Hebrew, the English translations, or offering up your own personal prayer at that time. But let's begin together on page 124. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, let my lips and my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevi goel libnei b'neihem, l'man shemo b'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magin. Baruch atah Adonai, magin Avraham, v'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye metim atarav lahoshiha, morid hatahal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye metim berachamim rabim, somech noflim berofek choholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, michamocha bal giburo, umido melach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lachayot metim, baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, keshem shmati shimo tov yishmei marom, kakatuv al yad neviyecha, v'kara zeh el zeh v'amar, kadosh, 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 Adonai tziva'ot, meloch ol haaretz, Hodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir Shimcha B'chol Haaretz. Baruch Kivod Adonai, Bimcho. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, v'hu Yashminu, V'rachamav le'nei kol chai. Ahadi Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, Ledor vador. Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagi godlecha. Netzach netzachim kedushacha nachdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam v'amen. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Righty. Let's continue. Page 134. Let's read that paragraph together in the English. O God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Well, here's the thing, friends. We have the macadamias here today, and we have the joyful almond.
Wow.
I mean, in case you missed the joyful almond, she is here. And so, since we very seldom see these three in captivity, we only see them out in their native habitats. Maybe could we get a ritzay out of them this morning, perhaps? Page 136, ritzay.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amecha Yisrael, U'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel, U'tehid ratzon, Tamid avodat Yisrael, Yisrael Hamecha, El Karov Lecho, Korach Penei El Avanecha Ve'Poneinu, Shefo Ruchacha Aleinu, V'tehezena Eineinu, V'shuv Letzio, Berachamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamachazir Shekinato Letzion.
Thank you. So let's just turn the page now and get to the Hoda'ah, because I'll tell you what, I'm very thankful that we had the macadamias and the joyful almond here for to be able to do ritzay. And I say, even though you don't always need a big ticket item, this is a pretty big ticket item for me this morning. And I'm also very thankful to be here with the group that's here today. You can't see them because we're using the old school camera, but there are people here and making me feel good. So let's start. Let's start with Tovi on page 139. No, you were supposed to be there by now.
No. Okay.
And then we're going to go counterclockwise.
Okay.
So you would be next.
Okay.
So be on the page.
Okay. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
for the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach. Taylor, you want to take that line there?
Not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds.
And together, blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. All right, page 140. Let's continue. We'll close out our Amidah with a prayer for peace. And in the morning, it's Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen V'Chesed V'Rachamim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael Amecha Barcheinu Yotzreinu Kulanu Ke'echad Be'or Panecha Kivor Panecha Nahatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torah Chaim Yahavat Chesed Utzdaka Uvracha V'Rachamim V'Rachamim V'Chaim V'Shalom V'Rachamim V'Chaim V'Shalom V'Tov Be'enecha L'Vaharech Et Amecha Tamecha Yisrael B'chol Heit U'B'chol Sha'a B'Shlomecha Baruch Atah Adonai HaMevorech Et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom. Oh, it's good to have the joyful almond and the macadamias and everybody here this morning. All right, page 253, one of our prayers for healing, the Misha Berach. If you have someone who needs a little bit of extra healing, please keep them close to your thoughts and in your heart. And then after Shabbat, reach out to them and let them know that you are thinking of them and see if they need any help, because ours is a religion of deed, not just creed, not just prayer. We're expected to do things. Reach out to the sick as one of them. Top of page 253. Misha Berach Avotenu Vimotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech Et HaCholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lahachalilamam Ularapotam Lachazikam V'Yishlach Lehem Mehera Refuah Shleima Mina Shemayim Refuah Tanefesh Refuah Taguf Hashta Bagala Bizman Kariv and Amar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us all say, Amen. All right, pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community. Hoyt's not here today, Nick, so would you fill in for Hoyt?
The congregation.
For the congregation, yes.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support for the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otacha levacha b'yira na'avod. Oh, Dr. Murphy.
Which one?
Pick one. Prayer for our country.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
Max.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Amen. Joyful Amen. How about the English for that, please?
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen. Thank you, everybody who read. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom and
And
Good
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
There's a comedian over there.
Where?
No. I'm the headliner. I'm the headliner.
I'm just repeating you, Rabbi.
Are you the nuts?
It's true, it's true.
My grandmother, Nan, you've heard about her a couple of weeks ago, of the Sei vorsichtig and Pass auf. Nan would tell me when I was a young boy, Fress nicht, loosely translated as don't eat like an animal. Know your manners. Nan never had to say this while I was sitting at her table. I knew better. She would say it as a reminder when she knew I was going to someone's home or when I had been invited out to dinner. Although her meaning to a teenager really was, behave at the table and don't take more than you can eat. You weren't raised in a barn. It came to have another meaning for me, however. It meant that I shouldn't take advantage of someone's kindness. Over the years, these words have had a profound impact on me. They become my mantra. Fress nicht reminds me not to take advantage of people. Nan's been gone a long time. She would have been 112 this year. But I can still hear her voice. Fress nicht. This morning's parasha lists no fewer than 72 mitzvot, more than in any other parsha of the Torah. They address every aspect of life, how we act in times of war and peace, at home and in a place of business, how we dress, how we cut our hair, and even how we build a house. We are not only told what to do with a condemned criminal's body and how to handle lost property, but also how to lend money and how to deal with a rebellious child. No, Max, I'm just joking. No, that's there, but you're not the rebellious child. For me, a key mitzvah found in this week's reading is a passage where the Torah instructs us, when you enter another one's vineyard, you may eat as many grapes as you want until you are filled, but you must not put away any in your vessel. We may also pick ears of corn by hand, but we may not cut them with a tool. Now I see the wheels turning in some heads. Rabbi, you're thinking, out of all the commandments this week, why is this one so important? It's aimed at a community very different than ours. How many of us walk through vineyards or grain fields on a relative basis, even here in West Virginia? How does this apply to us? I'm glad you asked. Some might argue that we read these types of mitzvot to remind us that our ancient ancestors were an agricultural people. Other than that, these people would say, there isn't much we can do with these kinds of mitzvot. In other words, they suggest that we place these mitzvot on a shelf and forget about them. The problem is, with this attitude, is that we could put most of the mitzvot on that shelf if we try hard enough. Kashrut? No worries. These laws were for people living in a time without refrigeration. We don't need to worry about them anymore. Shabbat. These were for a time when people were less busy and had fewer things to do. Now we need 7 days just to keep up with work. We can play this game all day, but I don't think it does justice to our tradition or to our Torah. There's a very famous statement made about the Torah that suggests its incredible depth. We're told, Yesh Shevim Panim BaTorah. There are 70 faces to the Torah. For me, I've always taken comfort in those words. I know that no matter how many times I read something in the Torah, no matter how many times I read a verse over and over, I will always find something new. Even though the Torah is over 2,000 years old, the truths found in it transcend time and place. My dear friend and teacher, Eliezer Slomovic, of blessed memory, would say, the Torah isn't a blabbermouth. You've heard me repeat that dozens of times, and he said it to me hundreds of times. He meant that when the Torah seems to make a gratuitous statement or mentions something that we think might not apply to us, we need to dig deeply into the text, because the Torah doesn't say something just for the sake of saying it. In other words, we sometimes have to search for the meaning. In this week's case, I think the Torah teaches us not to take advantage of people. When something is offered, we should not take advantage of the person making that offer. In ancient times, people could have put fences around their vineyards and their fields and locked gates in order to keep people out. Instead, they allowed passersby, travelers on the road, to eat their grapes, not to take all of them, not to take some for later, but to eat their fill at that moment and then move on. I remember a time before we all got so health conscious when people would keep bowls of candy on their desks. One time I watched someone take a handful out of a recently filled bowl. I asked that person, why not just 1 or 2 pieces, right? Why weren't they enough? I really wanted to say fresh nisht, but I knew the person wouldn't understand. Their reply was, if we were only meant to take 1 or 2 pieces, why is there a bowl full on the desk? So that others might have some, I countered. Well, if they wanted some, they should have taken it sooner. I just shook my head and wandered off. Torah understands our human nature. It knows that we sometimes need a reminder to do the right things. This week, the Torah reminds us that we should take what we need, not necessarily all we want. The Torah also knows and wants to impress upon us that if we take advantage of our neighbors, whether it's their grapes, their grain, her time, their willingness to help, they will be less willing to help or to give freely of their time and their talents. I think people will do the right thing. In times of crisis, people act in amazingly generous and selfless ways. I also believe that most people are willing to share what they have unless they feel they're being taken advantage. The above mentioned candy bowl didn't sit on the desk much longer. Sometimes the Torah lessons are difficult to tease out, especially when they deal with unfamiliar things like vineyards and wheat fields. Sometimes we can spend time thinking about the lessons and still have trouble with the meaning. We can spend hours looking at commentaries and interpretation. Sometimes, however, the help comes from an unexpected place. In my case, a voice from the past. It took 2 words to make this week's lesson crystal clear. Fres nicht. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos. It's kind of subdued. That's okay.
Profound.
It's all right. Nan doesn't mind. The rabbi, on the other hand,
Shabbat shalom.
there you go. That's it. There we go. Miranda, we love you. Come up here and be the rabbi.
Toda Rabbi, that was a wonderful.
A little, no, don't, not that much. Come on. Fres nicht.
I have a question, Rabbi.
Fres nicht.
You taught me the whole Torah, thank you.
Good. That's it. Don't. Well, there's another way of putting
The
fres
rest is
nicht, but
commentary.
pardon? The rest is commentary and great. What's up, Toby?
Okay, so this one I wrestled with a lot, okay, this parsha. One thing that bothered me, and I'm trying to make sense of, is women taken in captivity. And you're told that before you take a woman as a wife, that you take in captivity, she has to shave her head and grow her nails. I was like, what does this mean? I looked at the Rashi commentary. He says, well, it's supposed to make her unattractive to you so that when you choose her as a wife, you're sure that you want her or something. So I'm wondering how we make sense of verses like that. Because she doesn't get to decide.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. But then again, nor do the men get to choose to decide what happens to them when they're taken into slavery. It's not the same thing. It's not, right? Because no man is going to have his head shaved and his nails trimmed so that he could be not attractive to his owner. Point is what the Torah is trying to say is, look, you got the woman as chattel. You got her as spoils from war. She's not your toy. And, we don't want you just to load up and take all these attractive women home and then marry them, because, there's no love there. It's just, that physical attraction. And so they're trying to lessen that as much as they can.
Okay.
Love
Right.
the Leahs in the world.
Pardon?
Love the Leahs.
Love the Leahs in the world, right? Now, what's very interesting here is that what comes almost directly after that is the person who brings the woman back from war and does all of that, and he winds up marrying her and then decides, well, he doesn't want to be married and divorce her. He has to set her free. He cannot sell her to someone else and benefit monetarily from that. When he's married to her, he possesses her, but he does not possess her in the way that if he gets tired of her, he can sell her off. And, and this is one of those moments that even though the Torah previously might have said something that really gives us a knee-jerk reaction, like, and Rashi is doing his best, because Rashi, lives in a time where that wasn't happening. So, he's got to go through the Midrash and the Gemara to see if he can parse something out. And this might just be, for him, what he thought would be the best kind of thing, right? So that she doesn't get brought into the house and basically forced to have sex with the guy because he says, now you're my wife and all of that, right? And that's horrific. But then the next line is it's horrific in one way, but in the fact that in our early culture, you couldn't, there was no human trafficking, right? When you were finished with her for whatever reason, you set her free. And you didn't just set her free, you just didn't kick her to the curb and say, well, here's a shekel for cab fare. You had to give her enough that she could go out and not struggle while she found perhaps either when she went home, maybe she would go home, right? Or maybe she would find another husband. But the idea was she's not your property to buy or trade or sell. She is her own person.
So it's giving her more rights than she had previously.
In a way, yeah.
I can do.
Yeah. I mean, this is tough stuff. I mean, we don't live in a culture like that anymore. Right? And we don't necessarily understand like some of the nuances because we want that knee-jerk reaction. We want to when the Torah says something that we don't like, we want to put the ist on it, right? Or the phobic on it, right? The Torah is written by misogynists, by homophobes. And then, no, they didn't have the same understanding of these things that we do. And for as awful as the Torah can be, sometimes, to our point of view, it's really revolutionary in a lot of others. Right? I mean, I learned this with our friend Sarah Einstein. I don't know if it was. I don't know. Was it in Gittin? I don't know what she was studying. She does Daf Yomi, and there's a point where a woman is accused of not being a virgin. Okay, so what do? Well, the rabbis say you take her and sit her on a wine keg where the hole in the wine keg is. You sit her there, arrange it so what needs to be done, and then you ask her to exhale. And if you smell alcohol on her breath, you know she's not a virgin. All right, now people, their heads explode on this one. Oh, that's horrible, that's embarrassing, that's this or that's that. Doctors, are you ever going to smell alcohol on her breath from sitting her on the keg?
Not unless she's had a drink before.
Barring that.
No.
Exactly. You think the rabbis knew that? Yes.
Yes.
They knew that.
Oh.
So they were protecting her. It was never going to come back positive. They knew that.
Lets her answer the question definitively on her terms.
Exactly. Exactly.
Uncomfortable.
Right? So we see it prima facie as, oh, this is horrible, this is embarrassing, this is that. And I mean, if you read it you can read it like that. I mean, seriously, I mean, you could read anything just with a knee-jerk reaction. But when you stop to think, you're never going to smell that. Yes, the rabbis are saying from on high right now, we knew that. We wanted to protect her. We didn't want her to have to go through anything even more embarrassing because we don't understand anatomy the way you all do, but we knew there was not a direct line from that part of the body up through the throat, out of the mouth.
It's a placebo.
The idiot who's accusing her of this doesn't know that, and so he's going to be appeased. She might have to be embarrassed just a little bit, but she's not going to be taken out and stoned.
It's better than if she's a witch or load.
That was somebody else's.
Exactly.
That wasn't ours. We look for the more humane things. A little embarrassing, maybe. But in the end, if my life were on the line and it was a choice to do something a little embarrassing or just to have them say, well, this guy accused you and therefore it must be true, I will take the little embarrassing thing to save my life. So that's why I love the rabbis. They say some horrible things too, but in general, they're on the right page. They're on the right page. So did that help?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, worries?
Beats dunking.
Beats dunking, beats lashes, beats a whole bunch of things. Right? Nobody else? Max, you doing all right? Yeah. Okay, I'm just asking if you're all right. Mention the rebellious child being taken out and stoned, and all of a sudden everybody gets worried. Are you rebellious, Max? No, I don't think so, but I'm not your parents. So go figure. All right. Oh, you would have liked Nan. You would have liked Nan. I did. I did. All right, page 282. Let's start closing out with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, v'lo hosamanu k'mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim akadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz u'moshev yikaru b'shamayim yimal u'shlinatu zo b'gol meromi hu Eloheinu einod Emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu v'torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota, elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim mimal, v'al haaretz, mitachat Eino. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam moed. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai lo melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. All right, we are in the month of Elul, and that means that every day we read Psalm 27. We read it in the morning, we read it in the evening, and let's read it responsively here. It's on the little, what it's called, laminated sheet. Of David. Adonai is my light and my help, whom shall I fear? Adonai is the stronghold of my life, whom shall I dread?
When the evildoers draw near to me to devour my flesh, when my foes and enemies threaten, they trip and they fall.
Though armies besiege me, my heart shall not fear. Should war beset me, still do I trust.
One thing do I ask of Adonai, it is this that I seek, to dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to behold Adonai's sweetness and to gaze on God's palace.
God hides me in God's shelter on the day of evil. God conceals me in the recesses of God's tent. On a rock, God raises me up.
And now my head rises over my enemies around me. Let me offer in God's tent sacrifices with joyous shouts. Let me sing a hymn to Adonai.
Hear, O Lord, my voice when I call, and grant me peace and answer me.
Of you my heart says, seek my face. Your face, Lord, do I seek.
Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in wrath. You are my help. Abandon me not, nor forsake me, O God of my rescue.
Though my father and mother forsake me, Adonai will gather me in.
Teach me, O Lord, your way, and lead me on a level path because of my adversaries.
Do not subject me to the will of my foes, for false witnesses rose against me, ravens of violence.
Had I not the assurance that I would enjoy the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
Hope for the Lord, let your heart be firm and bold, and hope for the Lord.
Lulei hemanti l'ropatu Adonai be'eretz chaim, kaveh el Adonai, chazak v'yimatz libecha, v'kaveh el Adonai. This week we observed the following yard sites. Abe David Goldenberg, Mickey's husband, Janice's father. Aaron Herbert, Hal's father, Alice's father-in-law. Jenny Cohen, grandmother of David and Billy Glick and Barbara Glick Shapiro. Isaac Hemmelstein, Dennis Hammel's grandfather. Selwyn Robert Jurin, Judy Lundy's brother-in-law. Ruth Poland, wife of Dr. Charles M. Poland, mother of Mary, Lake, Chuck, Jeannie, and Lenny. Phyllis Irene Skeens, Judy Lundy's mother, great-grandmother of Nathan Daniel Jurin. Ruth Mendelson Brown, wife of Lake. Patricia Hyman, Jack's wife, mother of Rebecca, Faith, Derek, Joshua, and David. Gerald Lewis, Gail Gottlieb's father. Randall Miller, Randy's father. Sam Ratowski, Harold Radow's father, Judy Woodruff's grandfather. Max G. Glick, uncle of David and Billy Glick and Barbara Glick Shapiro. Miriam Frances Hyman, Jack's cousin, daughter of Isidore and Eva. Sarah Rebecca Kaplan, relative of Saul Kaplan. Charles A. Mayer, Jane Glick's father. Harry Greenstein, husband of Mac. Irving's father. Herbert Mazo, Steve's relative. Austin Moore, friend of Judy Lundy. Bessie Pastor, Ethel Levine's mother. Regina's great-grandmother. Sarah Tarbett, Derek Hyman's aunt, married to his mother's brother, Robert. Hannah Tepper, friend of Valerie White. Sylvia Glazer, Hoyt's mother. Bertha Hyman Oringer, Lynn Mayer's maternal grandmother. May their souls be bound up to the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they always rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. V'yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yeruteh v'yamlik malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach l'olam l'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei tekutsha richu. Le'elam imko birchata b'shirata. Tushbechata b'nechamata. V'amiram b'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. All right, friends. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom and good
Shabbos.
All right, they're getting there. Just a couple of quick announcements. Services tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 is our Hebrew 101 class, and then following that is Intro to the Tanakh. There are no major meetings this week, but Yiddish choir, the choir with the most, the Yiddish choir that has it from coast to coast. Our Yiddish choir, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Pardon? Literally coast to coast. People from the East Coast, that's where the Atlantic Ocean is. And then you go over the flyover part of the country to get to California. And that's where the Pacific Ocean is. And there are people who can see the Pacific Ocean that join the Yiddish choir. So it's a good thing. And that's on Zoom. 7 o'clock Wednesday night on Zoom. And then we're back Friday for more Shabbat. So I like how the week is circular. Shabbat to Shabbat. High holidays coming. I think today is the 10th of Elul. So 20 days. A little shy of 3 weeks. Wow. Yep. Oh, speaking of high holidays, please stop by and pick up your Hadar High Holiday Reader. This is from an organization. This is from a non-denominational yeshiva type group in Manhattan. And when I say non-denominational, they have Orthodox Jews, Reform Jews, conservative Jews, all sorts of Jews teaching there. And it's basically for adults. And, they put out great stuff. I get this every year for us, and we get it at the high holidays and Passover as well. It's a great resource, gives you some insights and some teachings for the high holidays. And so we get them. They're here. They're out for services, put out for services, and then they're in the building as well.
We
So,
love literature.
pardon?
We love literature.
We love literature. Yes, yes. So that's that. All right. Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything to offer?
I will say that a regularly occurring feature of the Yiddish choir is the Yiddish word of the week. In fact, it turns out to be a whole topic of the week where we talk about Yiddish language expressions and idioms. And it's been very fun and very well received.
Good. Was this week's word fress?
No, but it was body parts, so it's really,
No.
What's the word?
Like fun.
yeah.
Body parts. Punum.
Shane, that's funny.
Tuchus.
No,
Kishkis.
No.
we are polite. Resnish.
Fresnish. Zynet. Zynet. Okay. Page 322. Ein Kelohenu, followed by Kiddush. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkenu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Adonenu, Mi Kemalkenu, Mi Kemoshienu. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha Ketoret Hasamim. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית העולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית העולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית העולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית העולם. זכור יום השבת לקדשו, ששת ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך, ביום השביעי שבת לאדוני אלוהיך, לא תעשה כל מלאכה, אתה ובנך וביתך, עבדך ואמתך ובהמתך, וגרך אשר בישעריך, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הים ואת כל אשר בם, וינח ביום השביעי. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת, ויקדשהו סברי
לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. That was the tail end of the container of grape juice. That was good.
All the sweet stuff on there.
That's right, all that stuff. Looks like we have somebody saying hello to us on the intertubes. Oh, it's Mom. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's Mom and Cliff. Thanks, Mom and Cliff. Same to you. Wishing all a peaceful weekend and a good week ahead. Thank you. Hello to Scott, Toby, and Miranda. Well done again, Max. Your cheering section is out in force today. It's just the Rabbi's Mom, right? Doesn't mean anything. Okay. Whatever. We don't like Max anymore. No, I'm joking. We adore Max. All right, friends, lots going on. High holidays coming up upon us. But between now and then, I just want you to have a Shabbat Shalom and a good Shabbos. And please, please be careful out there.